Yo, yo, hello, hello. How's everyone doing? Bit of an early one for me. I wish the playlist. So I've talked about this before. When I'm on OBS, whatever the playlist is doing, if I change it, it updates for me like a minute afterwards. Very strange. I don't like it. But yeah, how's everyone doing? How you doing, Will? Viper? This is my last day before I go back to work. Oh, that's fine, Sobit. No worries, you can use what you like. I tend to forget that album exists, to be honest. It's been such a long time. I've just realised, actually, it's not showing the right screen capture. How do I change that? macOS screen capture, display capture. Let's do built-in retina. There we go. Yeah, so I've taken 3 days off this week. It's been really good. I've managed to get my studio sort of into pretty good shape. Mostly messing around with hardware. I mean, you guys probably saw, if you're here from the Instagram post, you would have seen that I've been having a little bit of fun just jamming around with some techno tracks and stuff. So I have all of this stuff working finally. The only thing that it's still doing is I have to open up the stupid Logitech thing to like get the aspect ratio right. But yeah, been having all of this stuff set up. It's working really well. I've got my phone working as a camera, which is quite nice. Using the iPad as a bit of a controller and sound source these days, so it's pretty good. So what I was thinking of doing today is firstly just having a little walk around Serum 2, which, I mean, I've been using Serum 1 for, God, years now. Years and years. I think it came out like 8 years ago, something like that. And I didn't even know that there was a version 2 in the works. I think it was kind of just a given that, you know, it's kind of just is what it is. You know, it's a favorite. Everybody's used to it. Loads of presets for it. And then they kind of just shadow drop this out of nowhere. And it's free as well. So I just heard the track with Dan. Are there any chances of making a full album together? Yeah, so there is already an album out on Spotify called Ruins. So you can search for that if you just look for Dan Tompkins Ruins. And then on here, on stream, we've been working on a follow-up album to that, which is completely finished now. 10 tracks. And it's really, I'm really happy with it. I think it's really good. And actually, after we've looked at Serum 2, I'm going to just chip away at a couple of little interlude bits on that as well. So we worked on an intro on the last stream, and then an interlude track before another song. And I also had an idea for an outro, and I'm hoping I can kind of keep it in my head until the end of the stream, or near the end of the stream, because I'd quite like to work on something from that as well. But yeah, so I figured I'd kind of just have a little walk around what's new in Serum 2. I've basically only spent like a few minutes with it, but I'm so impressed by what I've seen with it. And I'd probably go as far as to say that it's going to become my sort of go-to synth for everything. So what I'll do is I'll open up the old Serum as well. So we can kind of look at what's different here. I like that they've kind of kept the styling the same, so it doesn't feel like a complete, you know, learning curve having to get around the new version. But you can see the biggest difference is that we have more oscillators now. So including the sub and the noise, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 oscillators, 2 filter sections. So I'm going to kind of just go through each section, see what's new, make some cool sounds, maybe save some presets while I'm going at it as well. So that is very loud. So one of my favorite things about the oscillators in Serum has always been the unison section, which I'm on the wrong one. I want to be on this one. And if you guys have watched my streams before, you probably would have seen that I use a lot of Dune 3 or a lot of Antidote in Reason for its unison. But this is got quite a nice sort of full you know, full rounded sound to it. So a lot of this stuff kind of works the same. Like this is the oscillator that you used to get on the original Serum. So you have unison controls. You can scan through your wavetables. Obviously you've got all your different categories here and stuff as well. And then you have your wave shapers here. I think they've added, or warp modes, I think they call them, which the same as on Serum 1, you can have 2. And they can sort of interact with each other and stuff as well. Which, I mean, this would have been really good for when we were working on the Prince of Failure album, because I really needed some of those like gritty, dark synths. But the biggest difference here is that in addition to Wavetable, you can now click on this top header here, and there are different modes for each oscillator. So the Wavetable stuff, as far as I can tell, it is kind of the same as in the old version. You've got the same wavetables available. Which is really cool. Now, if we switch to multisample, this is crazy to me, but they've actually made this into a sample-based instrument now. So if we go to things like plucks, why is that not working? Plucks. Let's try mallet. I keep picking the same fucking same preset. Oh, it's unison. There we go. And it's warped. So in addition to the oscillators, like, you can now do these kind of like multi-sampled instruments, and I think you can load sound fonts as well, which is absolutely crazy to me. I haven't messed around with how to make my own presets on this yet, but I mean, I'm assuming there's not really any limit to how many key zones you can have. I'm wondering if it has like an actual pop-out editor for doing the key zones rather than kind of just dragging them in to that sort of like small window. I haven't messed with that yet. I mean, drums, I've not even looked at this yet. Okay, that's crazy. Yeah, I know. Well, the thing is I need a smaller one in front of me that I can kind of work on while I'm on stream, and then one off to the side for doing like proper playing and stuff. This stuff I have had the whole time, but this is the first time that I've actually managed to have it all plugged in and all working. But yeah, I mean, this is kind of blowing my mind a little bit. I think there's even some guitar stuff in here as well. I won't get ahead of myself and do effects, but I'm just kind of thinking through like the potential for that to have like organic sounds layered underneath. I mean, it's almost like a workstation plugin now rather than just like a single synth. So we obviously have this new multi-sample. You can also load in individual samples, which just play back kind of like old school style, you know, there's no time stretching or anything applied to this, but you can still apply bend modes to them. Which is really cool. So let's try phase distortion. And I guess we could even do like FM from B. So let's try that. FM from B. So that's really cool. You can kind of FM, RM, and AM any individual sample using the sample module, which is pretty cool. I mean, there's a bunch of stuff in the factory. I haven't experimented yet with how you import your own. I'm assuming you can just drag them in, maybe from the timeline, maybe from Finder, but I'm kind of just having a quick look around and seeing what's new first, and then we'll kind of get into some like patch design ideas and stuff as well. In addition to just the kind of regular sample play mode, there's now also a grain player as well. So if we pick something a bit more inspiring here, so let's go to this Aztec pipe. So you have your scan speed, which I guess you can kind of get down to almost like pull stretch levels of like slowed downness. Number of grains, which goes up to 30, which is pretty cool. Random offset, that's nice, so you can kind of scan from different points in the sample as well. We've got different playback modes here as well, forward loop, forward reverse. So that could be cool for kind of like isolating a part of the sample that you want to draw the grains from. That's nice as well, you can have randomized playback directions as well. Oof. So that sounds kind of nice with like a little bit of random pitch on the grains as well. It's almost like a unison effect, but I think you can put unison on the grains as well. So if we have 30 grains and then I set that up to 16, rest in peace, my processor. But yeah, I mean, I guess you could set that to something sensible like 4. But to be honest, I think with that random pitch effect, I mean, to be honest, when I was going through the presets, this is the first time that anything has actually pushed my Mac to like breaking point. So this is well and truly a current gen synth. Let's try a different source material. So let's see, something like voice. That is really nice. I mean, that's one of the cleanest sort of grain players that I've used. I've tried the sample alchemy in Logic, which is really good to say that it comes with the program, but you just don't have this level of control. I mean, that would almost be good for like a Bram kind of sound, like a cinematic. And I'm assuming that all of these parameters, okay, they can be modulated. So you could have an LFO controlling the amount of pitch randomization. I am just going to skip ahead a bit and just put some reverb on that because I want to hear what that sounds like. Some really lush, long reverb on it. Oh man, thank you very much for the heads up. I actually didn't realize I hadn't switched cameras yet. Oh man. Okay, I'm saving that. I'm saving that. I like that a lot. We'll call that... I guess it's a drone. Oh, God. Cinematic brass. Apologies for anyone that was like, why can't I see the plugin? So, okay, we'll just do a quick recap now that you can actually see what's going on. So, if you're familiar with the first Serum at all, in addition to the old style wavetable, we've also now got a multisampler, which I'll go back to shortly. But this granular module, it's just blowing my mind, like how smooth. And again, that's without any sort of filtering or anything as well. See, I mean, that's the kind of stuff, like, I love this sort of soundscaping stuff that can just kick off an idea. Like, listening to that, I can kind of hear things sort of building off of that. Yeah, no, it's not metronome, it's not footsteps, it's my metronome. For some reason, it lost focus when I typed in the patch name. So yeah, I really like that, big fan of that. So let's reset that, see what else is new. Spectral. Now, I don't have any idea what this does, so let's try... Oof. I mean, again, that's almost like... I'm assuming if I hold shift, I can get like finer adjustment. There we go, 1%. That kind of reminds me of like pull stretch type speeds. And I'm assuming, yes, you can adjust the... Now I'm wondering, this is just an experiment, might not work. Can we drag an MP3 into the sample slot? So we'll just try anything. Let's try that. Okay, so it cannot be an MP3, has to be uncompressed. So let's try something longer, like... well, let's see. If I go to my other sample libraries and then we go to... I should have a folder here for Audio Imperia. And we'll go Event Horizon and we'll go Drones and we'll drag in a wave. That's pretty cool. I wonder how that would sound actually with the grain module. So if we set the scan so it's actually moving, longer grains. Randomized grain length. Yeah, it's kind of weird. It takes the tonality away from it when you do the spectral, but then I think you've got this spectral filter thing here. So, again, no idea what this does. That's nice. I like that. Let's try going back to some of the factory content. So I mean, it's not additive. It's almost like when you load a sample into RX and you can kind of like select individual bands and delete them. But it's kind of doing it in real time. And I guess it's like it's filtering on an oscillator level or a per key level. I really love it at those kind of like extreme slow speeds. So I'm wondering how that would sound if I kind of just do like a plucky shape. And then again, we'll get a little bit of delay going on. I mean, this is all new as well, all the effect modules, but we'll take a look at those properly in a bit. Oh, that's cool. I wonder, can I automate that? I can automate that. That's really nice. So if we set that to something slow. Yeah, I'll have to mess around with that more. I'm not entirely sure what the spectral mode is doing there. And I'm not sure where I'd use that over and above grain. Because I feel like you get a cleaner tonality from the grain mode. Also not sure why it's crossfading like that as well. Could just be something that I've done in the settings. So yeah, so that's obviously the biggest new thing is that you've got these different modes here. I think the granular mode is probably my favorite. But then obviously we've got an extra oscillator than we used to have. So let's try doing something with 3 wavetable oscillators. And I guess, I mean, the first thing you could do with that is you could build out like a sort of, like a tritone chord. And I think I can send all of these to the filter. Yeah, I know, right? They just dropped it out of nowhere. I don't think anybody was expecting it to come, and it's a free update as well if you've already got Serum 1. And then we can use the sub oscillator. Then we can route that same envelope to the filter cutoff. So it's really nice to have that freedom to kind of build out chords just using the oscillators and like detuning and stuff. Nice. The other thing they've added on this, I mean, can't remember if this is on the original or not. I don't think it had a mix. Yeah, there was no mix page. So you can really quickly adjust the panning and the level of the different oscillators in this way as well. I think we can, yeah, command click to reset. Nice, nice. So this stuff all looks the same. I don't know if we have more LFOs than we did before. I did see something about there being some new LFO modes. So we've got normal, we've got path. Right, what does this do? Uh-huh. Oh, okay, this kind of reminds me of Animoog. I don't know if you guys remember that. Well, I only ever had it on iOS, but this, I'm assuming, is going to trace around the shape that you draw, and then you can map the X and the Y to different things. So how do you play the LFO? Or maybe it has to be mapped to something first. So let's try doing X to wavetable position and Y to cutoff. That's fucking, excuse my language, that's very cool. It's really nice for creating like more complex movements and stuff as well. So obviously you can have this on retrig or free running, so I guess it's just going to kind of always be tracing in the background. Nice, you've got pop-out editor, so that's cool. That's just silly. Oh man, I could write my name in paths. Let's try applying the Y to something else, because I think when the filter cuts out, it's kind of, or maybe it's the filter type. So if we do, let's see, a notch filter, that might sound cooler. And then see what other shapes we've got in there. I'm wondering if there are any tools for like, okay, so you can get to default or get to init by clicking on default. And then what have we got here? LFO vertical grid. And I guess, I mean, is it, because it doesn't really look like it's snapping to a grid there. Unless it's purely just kind of like a visual aid. Okay, so if it doesn't loop around and connect, it's just gonna sort of go from start to finish and back around to the start again. So how do I join this up to that? Right, so it'll always jump back to the first node. So even if you leave a gap. So it's interesting because I felt like when I first tried it, it was drawing like a closed shape just by default. Maybe it only does it from this window. Huh, interesting. Let's try initializing preset and go again. So we'll go to path, double click. Yeah, strange. Maybe I was just imagining it. Because I'm surprised there isn't a mode there to kind of have it like, hey Dylan, how you doing, man? Yeah, maybe I'm missing something. There we go. Of course. This is the thing, when I was messing around the other night, I just felt like every time I thought, oh, but you can't do that. It's like, no, they've added something in for that. So this allows you to have closed or open paths. So again, let's try that. We'll map that to cutoff and resonance. Man, this is crazy. Oh, and you've got different playback modes for the path as well. Let's make this a bit bigger, actually. There we go. Yeah, I love a bit of fart wave. But then also the fact that this is tempo synced as well. So, and then we'll get to the last node, back again. Oh, it's probably because I have a cycle range on. There we go. Nice, I like that a lot. I'm wondering if there's any modifiers that if you were to hold, there we go. If you hold Option, you can snap to the grid, which is really cool. So I could, in theory, let's try this. P. I'm not going to try and write my name because then it has to. Oh God, what have I done? All right, I'm going to bail on that. But it's good to know that you can actually, because I wondered what those grid settings were for if it doesn't snap to it. So if you set this to, I guess, like 16 by 16, hold alternate while you draw, and then you can kind of snap it to those points. And then command lets you select nodes. Okay, you select even without command. So obviously that's not going to move. That's not going to do anything if you hold control. That's fine. Shift doesn't seem to do anything. I can't really figure out what that's doing. Shift and Option also doesn't do anything. So yeah, I think Option is the only mode there that actually does anything. But yeah, I like that. That's really cool. So that's path mode, and then we have this Chaos Lorenz. So that also has an X and a Y axis. So again, we'll just take the easy route there and apply to the filter. Oh man, that's cool. I'm wondering if it's almost like I don't know if you guys have seen that video where there's like a pendulum on a pendulum on a pendulum, and you get this chaotic system where as it sort of turns, the chaos in the system increases, and it kind of looks like it's tracing that sort of shape. That's a nice alternative to, like, for randomization, to just using a sample and hold. I would probably use that as more of a, I don't know, I guess like a sort of slower modulation. So if let's go init patch again, and we'll just make a sort of unison-y pad sound. So give ourselves a nice slow attack, slow release. And we'll run that through a band pass filter, if I can find it, band 24. Make it really resonant. We'll choose the Lorenz chaos and then do cutoff and resonance. And then slow it like way down. Kind of set the ranges so they're not too extreme. I love a good long reverb. That's my solution to everything. Just increase reverb. So that's really interesting because you're getting like, it's a lot more of an organic modulation than just having an LFO that's just going to kind of, you know, rise and fall, rise and fall. There's a really nice degree of like unpredictability, but it's still kind of musical. Oh, that sounds cool. So let's try the other chaos mode. So the chaos Rosler. Never heard of that before. So we'll try and map that to sync, and then we'll do a different warp mode and say, let's do bend. Not that I know what that does. Yeah, there we go. So that's almost like, it feels like something that's orbiting like attractors. You know what I mean? Like almost like a physics-based modulation. I have also just noticed there are 10 LFOs here. I think that was something I always encountered with Serum 1, was that I would sort of find myself running out of modulators. I think you only had 4, possibly. Do have the old one open here. Yeah, so to go from 4 LFOs to 10, and you can have these kind of like crazy chaos paths, is really nice. I also like the way you can kind of select the modulation ranges quite easily as well. So if we kind of set this to something a bit more subtle. That's very cool. I like that. Not entirely sure what they're doing or how they're working. But yeah, could definitely get some use out of that. And then sample and hold, I'm assuming, if I, again, just map that to something obvious, like cutoff. Okay, so that's it. Yeah, that's just like your classic sample and hold effect. We've got smooth. So that would be nice if we take that modulator off of the cutoff, and then instead we apply that to the fine tuning of the oscillator. It's doing nothing. That's interesting. Oh god, where have all my LFOs gone? Where's it gone? View 1, 2, 3, 4. That's interesting. 1, 2, 4, 8. Okay, no idea what's going on there. That's interesting. But I'm wondering why that's not actually tuning the oscillator. Right, start again. Go init preset. I don't know how to get back to viewing all 10 oscillators. And also, what are these? This is new. I guess these are like editing modes for the things. I don't actually know how I got to that view. Huh. Okay, I'm going to reload the plugin. And then I'll see if I can actually get it to do that again, because that's... Now I'm only seeing 6. Maybe it's based on... I'm not tripping, right? I definitely saw 10 LFOs. Or were there only ever 6? I mean, 6 is fine. 6 is more than enough. But I swear I saw 10. Anyway, so what I was going to get at is if we use that sample and hold, and we'll apply that. Let's do it to, I guess, coarse tuning. Okay. And then kind of set the modulation amount on that to quite small. If we were then to run that through, let's say, a delay or something, that should kind of give you almost like an analog sort of detune, or like, almost like an unstable oscillator effect. Now I think on the coarse tuning that's too intense, but if we go to fine, there we go. So again, maybe we can reduce that even more because I think that's too strong. Nice. I'm wondering if I set that to slow. That's cool. So every time you press a key, you get a slightly different tuning. I mean, I don't know if there might already be a feature on the oscillators to do that, but that was kind of one of the things that I was hoping they would introduce, would be like a virtual analog oscillator. But I guess you could use this to approximate the same thing. So if you just kind of have that set to a really low value, like, I don't know, 8% or something, you get that nice, really sort of subtle detuning within each voice of the chord. Very nice. And then I guess you could use another LFO to put some actual sort of pitch vibrato on that as well. I do still wish that I knew how I got to the additional LFOs, because I know I'm not going crazy. I saw them. They exist. It was when I clicked and dragged. But all that seems to be doing is kind of just reordering the LFOs. I don't know. We'll come back to it. The voicing, that looks the same as it did before. There's more macros now, which is really nice. I like that because I think you only ever had 4 macros before. So again, I guess with this, you could, let's see, we can have it control the wavetable position and then also the filter, but by a different amount. So we can sort of, so that's really nice as the filter kind of opens up. It's also shifting the waveform as well. So yeah, that's quite a welcome addition. We've got 4 extra macros there as well. The envelopes, I believe, are the same. So let's just initialize that again. See if we've got any new features. Now I'm seeing a BPM option here, which is interesting. That's really cool. So if you were designing a riser and you know you want it to be a bar long. So, okay, let's try that out. So we'll go to envelope 2 because we don't want to use, I think this one is kind of like hard mapped to amplitude. Yeah, not amplitude, amplitude. So if we take this envelope, set it to BPM, and we'll go for let's do like a 2-bar riser, and then we drag that to coarse pitch. So this should last 2 bars. That's really cool. The number of times I've like, normally I would draw in like pitch wheel automation on that. This is way easier. Now I'm also wondering if there's a like a looping function, auto zoom switch. Oh, that's quite useful. So that it'll change the zoom as you change the scaling of the thing. I can't remember if that was in the original or not. I feel like I did see somewhere that you can use these envelopes as LFOs as well, but I don't see any option on there to loop. So maybe you can't. Legato inverted. Don't understand what that is. But yeah, definitely for like riser design and stuff. That's very, very cool. Everything else I think is the same in this section. Let's see. Now these 2 things down here, clip and arc. The Arpeggiator is definitely something that I was wishing for ages that Serum had on its own, because I loved everything else about it, but I would end up using something like Dune or any other number of synths just to get to their arpeggiators. So that's a lot of options. So first of all, let's set our amp envelope to something kind of plucky. And then do a kind of like a typical arpeggio sort of sound. Sweeten up a bit with some delay. Okay, that'll do. So let's see what options we've got in the Arpeggiator. That's nice. So a lot of the arpeggiators that I've used, yeah, I remember that from the old version, Mike, that you have the unipolar and bipolar options as well. So for a riser, that would be really good because you can make sure that you're starting on a particular key and finishing on a particular key as well. So yeah, good catch. But yeah, I mean, I've used a lot of synths where basically the only options they have are up, down, or up, down, and random. So I'm actually not too familiar with what a lot of these do. So how is that different to up, down? Okay, so that repeats the first and the last. And obviously that's just inverted, so that's fine. That's really cool. That's like almost like a 2000s trancey sort of thing. Let's get some reverb on that. Just mix it up a bit, you know, bit of reverb. Yeah, longer envelope, maybe. Very cool. Thumb, up, down. So it's kind of keeping whatever is on the lowest note as the sort of like anchor that it returns to. And then I'm assuming Pinky will do the same, but for the top of the arpeggio. Very nice. Converge. Now, I'm not sure what the difference is there. So I guess that's kind of just going from the first position of the up and then from the top down, and I guess diverges the opposite. Played, I think that will just be whatever order you put your hands on the keys. So not too sure when I would use that, but I mean, I guess it's useful for something. I mean, I'm assuming that will take into account what my envelope shape is as well, so I can kind of... Yeah, that's pretty useful. Random, obviously, is random. Random, no duplicates. That's cool. So I was trying to do something a little bit like this the other night with the intro to Prince of Failure, and I was really struggling to get that effect. I think I was using like a MIDI insert effect, but this is exactly the kind of thing that I was after. So I could sort of play... and then you get that kind of like generative sort of sound. Nice. I like that a lot. Also, I'm wondering what this MIDI out thing is. So I guess you can use this to drive other synths. Not sure I'd want to do that, but random drift. Let's see what that does. Oh, okay, so random once is cool. Every time you press the keys, you're going to get a new combination, but it'll stay looping while you're holding the keys down. Very cool. I think that's the kind of thing that you'd probably... I would maybe want to record the output of that to audio and kind of do it for like, 16, 32, 64 bars or something. And then you would kind of be able to pick out ideas from that you like, because obviously it's going to be different every time that you play it. And then pattern. What is this? Show hide pattern editor. Oh, no way. Are these semitones? Harp rate. So that's interesting. So it's not octaves. Maybe it's degrees within. That's really, really cool. And you can strum. Oh, no way. So you could potentially do almost like a guitar strumming pattern. So if you activate all of these, so let's do like, I don't know, 5 notes or something, and set this to like 8ths, and then play a chord, and then enable strumming. Interesting. And I wonder if you can change like the speed of the strum or something. I don't see any options for that anywhere. But I mean, that's still kind of cool though. Like, maybe like take the strum off the second one. I can imagine that being almost good for like, I don't know, like chill hop or something. Like a little quintuplet shuffle behind that, you know? That is very cool. So I guess these relate to the number of keys that you have pressed down in the arpeggio. So I wonder what would happen if you played more notes than you actually had in the Arp Designer. So we'll go pattern, and we'll turn on the first 3. Not all at once though. Okay, so that's going to disregard anything beyond the first 3 notes that you play, which I guess is kind of cool. Like if you wanted, I don't know, say you copied over like the chords from a pad or something, and you know that you want that kind of triplet rolling feel, but you don't want to mess the rhythm up when there's more than 3 notes played, you could just limit it to 3 here. And then obviously you can design a different pattern in there. So let's do like 0, 2, 1, 2, 0, 4, 1, 2. So if we play just a C major, and then we add in a 4th note, that should only play on the 6th step. Very cool. And I'm assuming that you can save these shapes, or maybe not. Interesting. Because most of these dialogues, they do have like a like an open dialogue somewhere. But yeah, that's no biggie. The other thing I noticed down here as well is it looks like you can alter different things within the steps of the arpeggio beyond velocity. So if we go here, and then you can address your macros. So we could route a macro to wavetable position. And then within the arpeggio, we go to the pattern designer and go to macro. I'm assuming the shortcut is the same here. If I hold alternate. No. How do I get that to snap? Ah, don't move the envelope. What are you doing? So how do I get rid of these? Okay, so double click gets rid of them. Well, let's just try. We'll just try like a simple up from 0 to 100. So now as that arpeggio plays, it's doing exactly nothing. And why? So that's going from 0 to 100. Interesting. And it's strange because I can see it So it's working here, but it's not addressing it on from the thing. Do I have to enable it? Interesting. I'll have to look into why that's not doing what it should do. Because potentially that would be really cool if within that Arpeggiator designer you can also have things about the sound that are shaped by it. I'm going to try that again because I feel like it should work, and maybe I've gone wrong somewhere along the line. So let's just have this. We'll do something simple. We'll do a resonant filter. We'll go to the Arpeggiator and we'll set it to pattern. We'll drag this macro to here, so it should, let's see. Okay. So then if we press edit on the pattern and we add macro 1, and then we add in some notes. So do 1, 2, 3, 4. Ah, you know why? I think I know why it wasn't working. Because there was the arpeggio pattern length wasn't long enough. I think. Interesting. I mean, it's moving. Maybe it's a bug. Well, now it's doing something. Yeah, that could be a bug, because I feel like that's supposed to work. I mean, this isn't even giving me a tooltip here. I don't know what this is doing. Anyway, not going to get too hung up on that. But I will report that as a potential bug, because I feel like it should work. So we've looked at all the pattern modes, transpose. I'm assuming this is going to let you do like multiple octaves. So if we do shift by 12 and then do that 2 times. That's interesting. So you can combine, let's do up, down with a thumb up pattern. Nice. That's sick. So you can have probability for the arpeggiator happening as well. Now, is that going to make it so it only happens twice? Interesting. So I guess if you set that to, let's do up and down, and then we'll set this to something really high. So that would be really cool for like, I guess almost like chiptune type stuff. That's cool. And then obviously you don't have to do that as an octave. You could set that to like, oh, nice. Now I wonder, because I've just clocked down the bottom here that there is scale quantization. And I'm interested to see if that will apply after the arpeggiator. So let's set this to C minor. Oh man, that's cool. Very, very cool. Because I find sometimes when you do that, when you have like an arpeggiator pattern that's doing like intervals, like fourths, fifths, whatever, you then get notes that are outside of the scale that you're playing. Let's do 3 and we'll do it like, I don't know, 5 times. We'll just kind of sweeten this up a little bit. God, I wonder if I'm going to use like delay and reverb. Like every single time. Pick a bit of a softer sound as well. And then obviously you can then set these different kind of alternator modes as well. So, nice. That's very cool. I mean, I was working on some chiptunes type stuff. And you might have checked out the track that I put out a little while ago called Drift City. That would have been really cool for it because I actually went in and programmed all of that by hand. Or I could have just used this. It would have been a lot easier. And then, so what is this? Oh man, there's different Arpeggiator. Can these be key switched? That's the question. So let's try, because I've got two keyboards here. We set this all the way down to the bottom. Oh, you can. So you can set up one arpeggio. Oh man, that sounds fucking cool. You can set up one arpeggio, switch to another one. And then let's do a different one for this. So we'll just kind of set this to random, no duplication, shifting 12 semitones 3 times, and set to something ridiculous. So I think the key range for that then must be, I can't see what key that's coming in, but it's below the playable range. Man, that's crazy. Could definitely think of some uses for that. And I mean, that's a really useful thing where I've had instances before where I have wanted to use the same sound but a different arpeggiator pattern. And then you either have to automate the settings of the arpeggiator, which not all plugins let you do, or you have to duplicate the track and set it to different settings. So one example of that might be that some passages would sound good with like a 16th note arpeggiator, and some would sound good with like an 8 or a 32nd note. Using this, you could do all of them from one synth. Very cool. Now clip, let's see what clip does. I have read that Serum has a sequencer in it now, and I'm assuming that's what this is. So, double click. Can I resize notes? I can. That's cool. I'm assuming there's some kind of grid setting. That's launch quantization. Not sure what that is. Mono. God, man, there's a lot of settings here. Okay, well, we'll forget about resolution for now. I just want to get a clip going. So if we just do... Okay, keep it simple. Okay, so that launches with the sequencer. Can I make it not do that? Note gate. Interesting. Mode, normal, trigger mode. Because I want it to play, like, maybe it's a key switch thing. Okay, so that's cool. So kind of like the arpeggiator. So I'm assuming that it's reserved the 2 octaves. One is for clips, one is for arpeggiators. But what if I wanted to play it up here? I mean, potentially that's cool because you could have a sequence playing down low. So you can kind of like play with yourself. But what if I want to then trigger that just within the normal playable range, almost like an arpeggiator? Transpose, I mean, that's just going to transpose the clip keyboard span. Selects whether the clip is triggered by MIDI notes. Mono and poly will play the clip transposed according to the note. Offset will play according from a different position for each note. Let's try that. There you go. Boom. That's very like Rammstein. What was it? Was it Du Hast? I think. It was like. And then, like we did with the Arpeggiator, I'm assuming that you can quantize the output of the clip. So if we set this to C minor, that's very cool. And then obviously this isn't monophonic, so you can... Okay, let's try something out here. I'm going to try a chord followed by sequence and then see if we can arpeggiate the chord in the clip. So... That's cool. So then we'll continue the rest of that sequence with individual notes. Let's see. I mean, that sounds a bit ugly, I think, because it's doing the scale correction there, but... That sounds better. So then I guess if I had a second clip and we just draw in just some random stuff. This is going to sound awful. But then what I think I can do is trigger that. Now I think this has its own conditions. So you would have to set this one to keyboard span mono. And I don't know if note gate has to be active for that or not. Let's see if it's a tooltip for that. Sets if a note off message will stop the clip playing when triggered by MIDI input notes. Yeah. So if we stop this. So that's really cool that you can do like key switching between different clips and up to, I guess, 12 of them. That's a bit of a weird number. Or no, it's not a weird number because that's all of the notes in that key range at the start of the playable range. And then we've obviously got some options here for, I guess that's going to quantize the start of the pattern. So yeah, okay, so that's cool. So you basically can't do it like off the grid. But if I was to turn off launch, can I turn off launch quantize? Interesting. I'm not sure what that note gate is doing because I would have assumed that with that off, it would just kind of play like freeform, not on the grid. Yeah, very cool. I mean, I could definitely think of some ways that I could use that. Again, sort of going back to some of the stuff that we've been doing for the album with me and Dan. There's been times where like I've wanted to just take a phrase or a pattern and just transpose it across, rather than sort of working with the MIDI in the arranger and then having to like adjust the notes manually to keep them in scale. And again, I mean, we've got these automation lanes here, but I couldn't get it working with the Arpeggiator automation lanes. So I'm going to see if it works in the clip sequencer. So we'll try that again. We'll go macro 1, and we'll draw from 0 to 100. See, that's interesting. That's the actual knob is moving, and it wasn't doing it before. So if I set macro 1 to control, let's say, oscillator sync. There you go. Now I'm wondering, is there any keyboard shortcuts here? So Command puts me into kind of like free drawing mode, which is cool. Can I draw? I can. Shift and Command will do like a stepped mode, which again, I'm not seeing anything relating to the snap value or the resolution of the clip, but there must be a way to change that. Wait, there it is. It's up there at the top. Okay, so now what I should get is like a stepped. So if we just kind of like have a more interesting shape there. That's very cool. So I'm wondering why that wasn't working when I was doing it through the Arpeggiator pattern designer. Because it was moving something, but it wasn't actually controlling the knob. So yeah, I will report that. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if it's a bug, because this is essentially like a day one release. The other thing I noticed in these effects is that there's also splitters as well. So I'm imagining what I can do with that is, so if we just create like a nice sort of thick pad, if I go in here and separate by, let's do low and high to start with. So we got the band switches there, and then I guess you can add different effects to different parts of the sound. So if you go, I don't know, let's do a distortion on the low end. And then, I don't know, let's say reverb on the high. Nice. Neo, at the moment, I'm just learning Serum 2. There is some stuff that I'm going to work on quite shortly, actually, because I apparently have been messing around with this for about an hour and 20 minutes and didn't even realize where the time had gone. So we are going to get to making some music shortly, but I am absolutely loving Serum 2 so far. I mean, even just being able to do this, kind of like affecting different bands of the sound from within the effect rack. Because I mean, what I've, in the past when I've made patches in Serum, I would just put a reverb at the end of that and maybe sort of, put like a high pass on the reverb or something. But you then end up getting reverb on the low end of the sound as well, which you don't want. And then I'm assuming that's going to be mid-side processing. So if we clear that and we do splitter mid-side. So let's, I mean, I want to do something quite noticeable on it. So for the side, we'll do flanger. And then for the mid, we'll do, I don't know, like a bandpass filter or something. Nice. I did also spot a utility down here as well. That's cool. So you kind of got just like a basic tool set here for doing things like low and high pass filters. You can mono the bass as well, which is really good. Like if you're doing a lot of detune stuff with like a wide unison spread. Nice. So you can kind of keep your sub bass nice and clean. So if I go in here and add like a actual sub into the mix. Of course, that's going to cut that out because I'm doing a bandpass filter. So if we get rid of that. Very cool. I also spotted that there's some buses here as well. So I'm assuming that you could use this mixer then to kind of like do a send effect and then bring it all back into the thing. So let's try that quickly. And then we'll move on to making some music because I want to get using this in something. Let's see. So if we do oscillator A as a sawtooth, oscillator B as a square or a pulse. So oscillator A is going to the filter, and that's just bypassing and going to main. Just fine, we'll do that. Let's route, send it to bus 1, and then in the effects section, we'll go to bus 1, add a reverb, 100% wet. That's really cool. So you can send different amounts of oscillators into a send effect. So if, say you had like, this was a sub octave or something, and you're like, well, I don't want the sub octave to be run into the reverb. Or I only want the sub octave to be run into the reverb. Nice. Man, it's honestly, the amount of stuff that they've thought of in here, just everything that's kind of going in my head, like, oh, I wonder if I could do that kind of thing. They've literally thought, well, I think it's he. I think it's just one guy. Yeah, literally thought of everything. And also, I've just spotted another button down there called oscillator mapping, which if that does what I think it does, and it does. Okay, I'm trying to think how you could use this. You could potentially, so let's have like a unison sawtooth and a straight up sine wave. So that's oscillator A, oscillator B. Go to mapping, oscillator A, oscillator B. So let's set the key range of this just before the middle C, and then the key range of this from middle C. Oh, nice. And the Arpeggiator has a key range, which means, just trying to think this through, you could play bass notes and have an arpeggiated sequence. So obviously I have to turn the Arpeggiator on. Right, so using what we've just done, I'm going to send oscillator B to bus 1. And then on bus 1, I'm going to put a dotted stereo delay and a reverb. because I love my reverb. And then what should happen... and these also need to be set 100% wet because they're send effects. So now should... Now, interesting. I thought that would start playing the bass patch. I mean, again, that could be a bug, maybe? So you see what it's doing? It's down to middle C, it's fine. Fold. Keeps this oscillator or ARP within the defined range. I mean, that's almost there. But I don't get why it's playing like a super high version of that when I play this. Okay, yeah, that's something I'm going to have to look into how to use. I think potentially you could use that to set up a patch where you have, say, like a respace or something, like a filtered out supersaw on the left hand, and then an arpeggio running into like a, you know, a really sort of lush pluck, sine pluck or something on the right hand. I don't know why it's not working. It should do, because I've set the key ranges for oscillator A and B, and I've set the arpeggiator should technically only deal with oscillator B. So I'll experiment with that some more. Could be a bug. I don't know. But overall, I mean, especially again to say that this is a day one release, like I can definitely see this being my sort of go-to. I mean, there's a whole bunch of stuff I've not even looked at yet. Like I'm assuming there's a whole bunch of different filter modes. Oh, that's nice that you have shortcuts there for whether or not to route the oscillator to the filter, because previously I was using this drop down, or you can obviously do it from here as well, but you can actually do it from the filter itself, and you've got two filters. I guess that's key tracking. Yeah, filter key tracking. And then there's a whole bunch of different filter modes. I'm not going to go through those now. But yeah, I mean, I've been using Dune 3 prior to this. A lot of Antidote. Some Nexus even, but I honestly I feel like this could replace a lot of it. And if I can get those kind of key range things working properly, you could have like a multi-sampled arpeggiated guitar and then your synth bass note, like all from one thing. One thing that I would actually really like to try, and I'll try this before I load up a track, is if we, because I did wonder how sample import works, is if I were to go record like a guitar chord or something. So let's get rid of rack plugin. Just literally any kind of sound. We'll just compress that a bit as well, because it's like kind of washed out a bit. Let's see. Threshold, input gain. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to record that. I'm going to bounce it and then see if I can import that into the grain layer. Terrible. Okay, probably don't need all of that. So let's then flatten, bounce in place, new track. That's a bug. I don't know if it's a bug in Logic. If you have monitor enabled, your bounce is silent. Very, very silly. So can I drag from here? Okay, it doesn't look like I can. Let's initialize the preset. Set this to sample. Okay, no, you can't do that. What about from files? Can I do that? Ah, you can. So, oh man, that's cool. Yeah, I have found that the CPU use is a lot higher. Okay, no, so that's dragged in the dry. I don't want dry. I want the bounce. Okay, that's the one I want, is audio. But that's nice that I can drag straight in. So you can't do it from the arranger, but you can do it from the file browser in Logic, which is really cool. It's incredible, T. Absolutely amazing. So just now, I've just recorded a chord on my guitar, bounced in place in Logic, dragged from Logic's file browser straight into Serum 2 for the sampler module. So then I can switch to granular mode. And if we set the scan to slow, density to high, length to high. Oh, there it is. And then we do some random pitch, random length, random direction. Oh. So then if I set this to be kind of like a longer release time. Oh man, that is just absolutely gorgeous. It's actually kind of given me ideas for something. The only thing I'll say that I'm not too keen on is the reverb algorithms in this. And I always found this in Serum 1 is that they were kind of like springy. But then there's also some new models here that might be better. So can't really hear what that's doing. Ah, dummy. Put it on the bus. So let's try it on here instead. Oh, man, that is so lush. I'm going to record that. Sounds nice. And then I guess what I could do is if I set this to forward reverse loop, I can exclude the initial pick attack and also some of the decay where it gets quieter as well. So we should just get like a more... There we go. I don't know why it's kind of like... Ah, because the attack. Dummy. kind of... And then we'll use another Serum. I mean, basically, so you were asking about CPU usage. So this has a density of 15 grains. It's just one oscillator. I mean, I could try adding in... Okay, let's try this. We'll do a second oscillator. Whack the unison all the way up. We'll set the... That's cool. So there's different unison types as well. I was hoping there'd be like a fifth mode, but that's fine. We'll do the fifth using an oscillator as well. So we'll route oscillators B and C to filter 1. Unison on both of them, heavy detune, and then set this one up 7 semitones. 1, 2, 3, 4. But that's kind of like, these are overpowering a little bit, and I'm wondering... There we go. Having that mixer overview is really nice, because you can actually see where the kind of like dominant sound is coming from. And then on this second one, now, how do you do... I want to do like a pitch glide. So if we set this to legato and then poly to mono. And then filter. And then we could try using a bit of that like Chaos Lorenz thing. So let's map X. I wonder what would happen if I mapped X and Y to filter cut off. That is nice, really nice. So now let's try something else, and then I will move on to some onto some Dan Tompkins stuff. So I want to try and use that clip launcher. So we're in key of E. So, see if I can figure out how to do this. We'll just set it to something basic for the meantime. We'll set like a plucky ADSR. Engage the clip. Now, how did I set this up last time? I set this to keyboard span, mono. I'm not entirely sure. Sets if a clip starts when triggered or playhead immediately syncs to the clock. We'll leave it and we'll change it as we need to. So I want this to do... and then we'll set this to 8th note. Can I change the speed? Right, I can. So we'll set that to half note. And then we should be able to set the root key to E. And then... okay, no. We actually don't need to do any quantization at all because the chord moves around on the guitar. So how do I turn this off? There we go. Nice. Now that's interesting that it's playing, it's sequenced in E, but it's playing from C. So that could be on, what I probably should have done was sequence it from C, and now I'm playing on E. This is so cool. We'll spice this up a little bit. Interesting that it's kind of like, it might be because my notes are overlapping that are actually, yeah, there you go. So that was a me problem. It's not a Serum problem. And we'll just set these to legato as well. So then I wonder, because these are playing 8th notes, can I arpeggiate these at 16th note? I can. And then I can set the, let's try a shift. Oh, I could, you know what I could do? I could use that sample and hold thing where you set the speed so low, like 32 bars, that it just re-triggers a different value every time you play. Then we can map that to the decay length, and then you should get these kind of plucks that sort of maybe set that to unipolar. Can I do that? Polarity. Maybe unipolar is what I wanted actually. That's nice. That's almost like a Buchla kind of sound, where you're using like those LPG gates. LPG? Are they called LPG gates? Low pass? I don't know. I'm just trying to sound like I know what I'm talking about. But I like that effect of kind of getting like randomized decay times. snare kind of sucks. Oh god. Oh god, it just gets worse. Anyway, I mean, this isn't even like a... I'm not even really working on anything. It's just... I'm just playing about. Oh, there we go. There we go. Shorter grain times. Gives like a denser sound. What I could do with this sound to me. I mean, I'm going to save this just in case it turns into something. So let's try and do something. Let's see, analog. I mean, that's nice. I like that. So let's try. We'll do a path. So we'll just have ourselves a little circle. It's not a circle. And we'll just create some little dips. And we'll have one of these do the wavetable position. And the other one do a bend. And we want it free, not re-triggered. Hey Alice, how you doing? Whoops. Anyway, yeah, getting a bit lost in the sauce. Serum 2 is fucking awesome. So cool. And I love being able to kind of just take like sampled guitar or bounced guitar and then turn that into granular soundscapes. And I mean, the other thing that would have been really cool to have this when we were working on the stuff with Dan's album is to be able to kind of take bounces of his vocals and then create pads out of those. Which, I mean, again, we can kind of hear what that would sound like if I just take some of the demo vocals, because I actually don't have stems of the new ones yet. But if we go... Oh man, I'm thirsty. I haven't drank for like 2 hours. Oh my god. Why do I do it every time? Just completely forget to drink. Let's see. I guess it would be in fun projects. So let's, I mean, it could just be any audio files. Yeah, so let's try that. We'll drag Dan's vocals, wavetable. Oh man, so you can create a wavetable of the vocals, but we don't want to do that. We want to switch the oscillator type to granular. Man, they have honestly just thought of absolutely everything in this. So then I'm assuming I can set the, what does that button do? Embeds this sample into the preset when saving. I'm just wondering if there's like a pop-out for you for kind of like more detailed editing, but that's fine. Oh, oh man, that's so cool. And then on top of that, you've got the warp modes. So you could even do, I don't know, let's just try something like FM from B. So we'll turn the level down on that. Set this to a sine wave. Oh. This is just, it's insane. It's insane. Like, there are individual synths that might be good at grain or good at wavetable or good at, you know, at whatever. And they seem to have just done it all in one, which is absolutely incredible. I am wondering if there's an option to, if we switch this to forward reverse loop, it would be nice. I mean, we can zoom to start and end, but how would I zoom? Or like normally, that's kind of what I want to know. Zoom to start and end. Ah, okay, left and right drag. So that's setting the, that's just the loop range. Shit. I mean, that, like, how cool is that to be able to just take like a vocal stem from something? So, I mean, let's try a different one of these, like, I don't know if there's any other sort of bend modes that might work. Phase distortion self. I mean, it's not really doing anything. We won't do any warping on that, but let's do some filtering. And then I'm going to add in a couple of effects that I really like in Reason. So we'll use the Anoma with a bit of like Oh man, it's just like inspiration. It's instant inspiration. I love it. And I'm going to save this as well. I don't know what it is, but I will save it just in case something good comes out of it. Projects, Logic. Call it ambient. Serum 2 test. Man, that is that really is something. Ah, did I get rid of my... See, now that's interesting. What's gone on with that? Audio 1... Oh, I deleted it from the project. Can I undo? Can I undo? Oh, twat. Well, there's a lesson there. Don't delete the file that is referenced in Serum 2. I have to re-record that guitar chord. It's fine. It's fine. Don't worry about it, guys. It's fine. I'm not mad. I'm not mad or anything. Not even a tiny bit mad. Hey there, Billy. How's it going? We've just been looking at Serum 2. I do want to do like a video on it. I think this stream has just been a little bit like just feeling my way around it a bit and, you know, finding out where everything is. And I have just yeah, well, it's fine. I'm not that mad. I mean, I could do it again. It's no big thing. What I will do is I'm just going to load up... where is it now? DT2 Final Projects. The intro that I was working on to Prince of Failure. And I did hear something in my head for an outro. But I didn't get it down. So we'll see. We'll see if I can remember it. If I can't, I'll just come off, do something else. Probably think about some dinner soon. Right, so this is what we were working on the other day on stream. I have no idea if I still like it. We'll find out. Why? What the fuck, man? Like, I definitely didn't do that. Oh, right. This is what I don't like about Logic. So annoying. If you do automation on a track stack, it doesn't know to move that automation unless... So if you're looking at it in this view, there's nothing to tell you that there's automation on this track stack. So if you move all of this, even if you've got the option enabled to move with clips, anything on the stack is going to stay in place. So what you need to do is create a MIDI region on the track stack. Don't do that because that's wrong. And then drag it. That's kind of annoying. Right, let's try that again. Because I wondered those guitars were supposed to like swell in. I wish I could play the whole of these songs as they're sounding with the new vocals, but I can't. Got to keep it under wraps. So I like it. I feel like it's a bit sort of threadbare. Maybe it's that this thing takes too long to become sort of present. So if we... That should come in sooner, so it's more of like a driving sort of force in the song, and then the guitars swell in. Hey David, how you doing? You know what I was hearing? Like a low... not like a Gregorian chant, like a really low choir. And I could run it through Serum 2's grain module, so it kind of like infinitely sustains. So let's go to... Let's see if there's anything on Splice, but I don't know if that's going to do it. If it's, I don't even know if Splice is going to launch. That's nice. Love it when it does that. Maybe we'll just try male choir. I want like the lowest note. If that doesn't work, I could just use, I could resample chorus, bounce it somewhere on hard disk. That's the one. Ah, you know what'd be really nice is if I actually had like a chanting, like, do I? I'm just gonna try. Just gonna try. It might work, might not work. But I just want that kind of like, just layer of really deep voice in the back. I think that would sound kind of cool. View, classic view, always classic. I do not like the new Contact. So if we try single patches, core articulations, traditional, men. Now there's supposed to be some like syllable. Oh wait, it's this thing. No, it's not loops. Multi-headers. Energetic syllables, slow syllables. Let's try that. No, that's just a header. Where is it? Let's try multi-patches. Ah, there we go. There we go. Slow syllables, men. It could sound goofy. I don't know. I think it would sound better just having like a sustained like whoa. I mean, that sounds cool. But it's a bit... Maybe have it more... I think just a sustained... Yeah. We'll just go for sustained. I mean, that could have sounded cool, maybe in a different context. And also because I had type mode on. I mean, it does sound cool, but I don't know if it really fits with the song. And that sibilance in there is kind of like You know what? I'm just going to try it. And if it doesn't work, nothing ventured, nothing gained. Just delete it. Because then I can shift the MIDI back to compensate for the attack. Hello? So, man, I feel like I'm going a little bit off track here, but you know, good work. So there should be, there we go, delay. So I want to put negative delay on the track. Now, why is that not working? Any logic wizards in the house? Oh no, it is working. It's just a massive delay. It's like 200. And then leave space for a breath. I mean, again, this could suck. And we could just go back to the original idea of just having like a drone. But I think it could sound cool. I mean, that's kind of cool. Maybe take the fifth out. Yeah, so with the Audio Imperia stuff, they have two modes. There's like a tight mode where it cuts off all of the pre-attack and it's just instant, but it sounds obviously not as realistic. And then the idea, I think, is that you turn that off, but then I'm pretty sure it's a minus 250 delay for everything. So I know it's not realistic, but we're just going to legato that, and I'm going to try it with that fifth taken out. I mean, I think that sounds cool. Like, don't know why it falls apart there. Okay, so we're going to need to do some volume automation on that. I think it works. So what I'll do, and this is something that I do try to do where possible, is I'm not going to automate the fader. I'm going to put a gain utility at the end and then automate that. And then the reason for that is I can still use the fader in the mixer to turn things up and down as I need them. And then the automation is done using the gain plugin. So start from here. we thinking? What are we saying to the ominous choir chanting? I mean, it does kind of fit in with the album. Like the track after this, I think, Jaded, has like a church organ intro. So it does kind of put them in the same realm-ish. There's a couple of syllables in this that they kind of get a bit sloppy. So I'm wondering if at some point I could bounce these to audio and then just loop the bit that I like. And also it starts too quiet. That's okay, actually. It's that one around there. Okay, as an alternative to that, let's try the this thing just as a granular patch. So we'll do granular. So set to forward back. Actually, no, let's do forward loop. Now, how do I get rid of that, like, jittering? I mean, that could sound cool as well. So if we start this kind of low down. It's a bit animal-ish. Sounds like a monster. Which I don't want. So I could try little altar boy. Oh, it's not happy about that. Row, row, row. I don't know. Maybe these, if anything, I mean, it could be that it's just not working. That actually sounds good in the next octave up. And then we could put just a hint of sub-octave using polar. That is so, like, ominous. Can I... What would be nice is if I could tempo sync the playback. I don't think you can do that. So let's try this instead. Let's get rid of the S's at the end. Yeah, I think I'm going to go with that over and above the syllables, only because it's a little bit more textural, and you don't have that sibilance kind of getting mixed in there. So if we set this to the maximum that we want it to be, and then again we'll do the same, we'll go gain, stereo, automate, gain amount, set it to just before the peak. Do you know what this reminds me of? This reminds me of the bit in one of the Star Wars prequels where Palpatine is explaining the story of Darth Plagueis, and they're watching those fucking hell. I'm such a nerd. They're watching those kind of zero-G performers dancing in the bubbles, and there's this really deep, low voice. You guys know the bit I'm on about. Don't pretend like you don't. Anyway, reminds me of that. Yes, Phantom Menace. Nice. I enjoyed that. Very nice. Right, does it need something on the top end as well? No, I think it's fine. I think that's fine. I'm going to give it one more spin and just see if it feels like anything's missing. And then I'll try and do something for the outro. In fact, I'm going to get some dinner first, and then I'll hop back on after dinner, probably. This also reminds me of something from the Half-Life 2 soundtrack. Kind of hearing the grains too much. I think that works. I'm going to save it. I think this might be a good time for me to get some dinner because I'm pretty hungry. As I said, it's the last of my 3 days off work. So I'm trying to make the most of it, music-wise. But yeah, I think when it comes to Serum 2, I will try and kind of structure, I know there's a lot of videos coming out about it right now. Yes, saved. Thank you very much. So yeah, if I was to do a video, I'd probably want to do something a bit different on it, like not so much a complete walkthrough, but just I maybe like ideas for cool stuff that you can do with it. So yeah, I'll have a think about that. Do I need this when I have phase plant? I mean, so I've got phase plant, and I've not really used it anywhere yet. Yeah, I mean, I don't really know how the presets compare. So if we just load up we'll do both. We'll do phase plant, and we'll do Serum 2. I mean, I've not even really looked at the presets yet in Serum 2. So let's see. I mean, I definitely prefer the interface on Serum 2. It's a lot more familiar, I think. I find that kind of like things get a bit crazy with phase plant. So if we just do, I don't know, let's look at ads. I mean, phase plant does sound good. I'm a favourite of that. That's good. Right, what's the preset browser on here? Oh, you can play. That's cool. So that's one thing that's really nice on this. You can do patch previews. I wonder if that's actually. I wonder if it's actually like loading the presets that quick, and they're not just audio. Oh man, honestly, it's these sounds. There's just too much good stuff. I think I need to set some time aside sometimes to just curate sounds that I like. Yeah, Medway. So we were actually looking at that earlier because I was kind of finding out how to use Serum 2 along, on the stream. Basically, I've not really had a chance to look at it until today. So just learning how to use the clip sequence on that. So I'm assuming that these presets have a clip that comes with them. Maybe that was kind of like a, sort of mandatory part of making the clip, making the patch. But yeah, I think I just need to actually curate sounds from all of these different things that I've got that I'm like, yeah, these are the sounds that I like. Because otherwise you just never find anything. Same with a friend of mine messaged me earlier today and was just like, oh, can you recommend anything for like 70s, 80s, like retro vintage synth sounds and stuff? And I was like, actually like Analog Lab might be good. And then I remembered that I have it and I don't use it. And that's yet another collection of sounds to use. And then there's Complete and then there's everything else. It's just too much stuff. And it's not a terrible problem to have. But I think there is definitely something to be said for investing some time into like building up a tonal palette of things that you feel kind of represent your sound a bit. But yeah, as I say, I will try and do something a bit more structured, like video wise on this. I was also thinking of doing something with kind of like a drum library shootout, because I have quite a few drum libraries now. There's so many of them out there, and it might kind of be cool to do something where I sort of put all of those kits next to each other. People could kind of hear, what the differences are between them, where their strengths are and everything. So that's another thing that I want to do. It's just finding the time for it. But yeah, well, I hope you guys had some fun nerding out with me to Serum. I've definitely enjoyed myself. It's given me some ideas, like a lot of ideas. And like I say, I might come back on tonight, depending. Yeah, okay, Stas. Yeah, I'll do that. Yeah, I might come back on tonight if anything comes. I mean, I would like to get an outro done to the album. I've also got some new ideas cooking for a third album with Dan. But yeah, we'll see. Sometimes I prefer to work on those things offline. Well, I'm glad you guys enjoyed it. Yeah, it's a bit of a weird thing for me sometimes, just having this kind of like, just a train of thought really, and not really going into things with any sort of plan in mind. I think if anything, like the next time that I sort of do a session in Serum, I think maybe try and base it more around actually writing some music, so there's a bit more of a goal in mind, because obviously that keeps things a bit more interesting for you guys as well. But yeah, I had fun. I'm glad at least one other person did as well. Yeah, third album, man. There's already some ideas cooking, but what we're not sure about is, like, do we just go heavier and darker? Do we go more electronic, more diverse, more goth? Because anyone that's heard what we've been working on the album so far will know that there's a lot of like goth and industrial influences towards the end of this album. So we're kind of just debating whether or not to lean into that more. So yeah, nice. Right, I'm going to go get some food because I'm starving, and I'm going to stop talking for a bit because my throat is very sore. But thank you very much for everyone that hung out with me. As I say, I might be back on later on tonight. I'll put it on Instagram if I do. I saw a couple of new people jumped in the Discord as well, so I'll try and show my face in there a little bit more as well. But yeah, have great mornings, afternoons, evenings, wherever you are, and I will catch you guys next time. In a bit.